Okay, and good evening, everyone. My name is Roosta. My co-commentator today is Tyler Salt. Welcome to the Go Mode podcast channel. How is everyone doing today?
Well, I can't speak for everybody in chat, but I'm doing great. Roosta, how are you?
I'm doing very well. So this week we've got it's the bi-weekly seed for the Go Mode podcast. We have a restream of Daaanty and Amarith, who is actually doing the restream duties behind the scenes here. Also, shout outs to Drunk Future Self, who will be tracking and pushing buttons and keeping us on task. What do you know about this seed, Tyler?
I know literally nothing about this seed. I have not seen the spoiler log. I haven't run it. I know it's a spoiler race, and that these are videos that these two have pre-recorded, but I haven't seen them. I haven't seen the log, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, this should be a really good seed. So for those of you who didn't run it this week, basically what it is it is a spoiler log seed. We're doing this as a restream of the VODs because there's a 15-minute study period beforehand, which presumably both runners have already done. So that way doing the VODs allows us to just get started right on time rather than having 15 minutes of dead air time while we just wait for them to look through the log.
Yeah, and this is all in preparation for the spoiler tournament coming up here starting next weekend. So that should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to those matches.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one other thing, just before we get kicked off here, which should be in just a minute or so, is that if there's anybody watching who's not familiar with the Go Mode podcast, the Mentor Tournament, that will be starting very soon. Applications are still up, so please go to the Go Mode podcast website. There's a link there, or look up the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, whatever your favorite podcast app is. And the most recent episode from about a week and a half ago has in the episode notes a link to that form. It's intended for newer runners, so if you watch this and you find this to be really interesting, or you've run a couple and you're just still getting used to it, it's perfect for you. Even more experienced people are allowed to join up, and if you're too good for the tournament, we'll just tell you are too excellent, and we will ask you to be a mentor and help guide some newer players. So should be a lot of fun for all involved.
Yep, I was a runner last year. I put in as a runner or a mentor this year. I'm looking forward to being involved in whatever way I can. Amarith, I think we are ready to go. So you can hit play there at your leisure. Right away, rooting for Amarith because she's using the Garnet sprite that I use when I run. We got 20 rupees right off the top at Link's house. It looks like both of our runners are headed up towards Hyrule Castle and Uncle. So Uncle must have something. Amarith is taking that sign up there. We're going to set up this tree pole. Maybe those are bombs. No, single rupees. So it just didn't look at that. That's okay.
And it is worth noting that the tree pole is listed, I believe, in the spoiler log, but it's something you only have 15 minutes. You might not want to take a look at it. Might be lower on your priority list.
And Amarith being a little bit thorough here. Pick up that heart container and the Quake medallion from the secret passage chest. It looks like I think Daaanty did not do the Quake medallion, and so he's headed right into escape. So there must be something in that first chest there because we don't have any weapons. We don't have any bombs. We got nothing. Oh look, it's a sword.
Yeah, and that definitely explains why you wanted to go here early, because that is something that makes not just the rest of Escape, but all that in general just makes it easier to route when you've got a weapon in your hand already.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Spoiler races are very much, since you have perfect information about what everything is, spoiler races are about execution a lot. And basically they're about routing, and they're about knowing your capabilities and not routing beyond those capabilities. As you can see, Daaanty picking up the Moon Pearl there in the boomerang chest. Knowing your strengths, knowing the places where you struggle, and routing in enough safety for you to finish, but not so much that you lose time is the goal. That's the real challenge here.
Yeah, and it's definitely one of the things that's unique about spoiler races. I mean, even more than regular gaming, is just your execution has to be on point, because you will have to deal with a lot more situations, probably have a lot fewer safeties than you're used to in a regular seed.
Oh, and there's the mirror down there in Zelda's cell. So lots of stuff to get here out of Escape. Daaanty saves and quits, so we must not need anything from Dark Cross. We had this.
And meanwhile, Amarith getting trolled a little bit by that green guard jumping in the way.
Yeah, good, well managed though to take down both of them at the same time. Amarith picking up a nice safety item there, the Cane of Burna, and not wasting much time there picking that up. So that's a solid pickup for Amarith. And Daanty's headed into Kakariko Well.
And just a quick shout out to Oro. Thank you for the Twitch Prime subscription and the 5 months. Subscribe, yep.
That's good. Daaanty picks up that was a lamp and a master sword in there in Kakariko Well. That's pretty good. So our first order of business here is in a spoiler race is generally be thinking about Dark World access, right? Where's my where's the sword? Well, I guess number one's a sword, but where's my glove? Where's my hammer? Where's my Moon Pearl? Amarith doing some picking up a couple safeties here in Blind's hut. Daaanty pulling that hook shot out of the back of the tavern, and we're done with Kakariko Village.
Yeah, and since neither runner is going to do a map check unless they really forget something, the pendants today are Swamp Palace, Skull Woods, which is the green pendant, and then Turtle Rock.
Okay, Dan's putting that hook shot to good use. Taking down these mini mold arms. Amarith picks up the OK boomerang there in the back of the well. There's our glove in Mini Moldorm Cave, and Daaanty is out.
Yeah, it did pick up a piece of heart there. Not sure if that was intentional or just remembered it was on the left side and just grabbed both chests rather than trying to make too much time trying to figure out which was which.
Yeah, that's interesting. Daaanty headed straight back into the castle. Now, this is interesting. He picked up the lamp. We'll see if this is Dark Cross. Nope. Looks like we're headed to do Aga 1, folks. This is one of those seeds, I guess.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting.
All right. So the other thing about spoiler races, and this one in particular being being a vodcast, right, is that our runners are in chat. So Daaanty, why do you say that time save opportunity should not have done castle at the start?
Meanwhile, Amarith is getting a full heart while we're waiting on Daanty's answer here. Also, just for our tracker and for everybody to know, the good crystals, the 5-6 crystals, are Eastern Palace and Tower of Hera.
Oh yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. If you're gonna route in front of Escape with Aga 1, that would be helpful. So you're forgoing that early sword, but So you start at Sanctuary. You run down. You do Kakariko Village. You do Mini Moldorm here, and then you go do Escape. Get your sword. Get the mirror from Zelda's cell. Mirror out. Then do Aga. That makes a lot of sense. Saving yourself some time there. Traveling to and from Hyrule Castle, saving yourself a saving way as well.
Meanwhile, Amarith showing us the rest of the chests there in Mini Moldorm were another piece of heart and 2 big 20s.
Alright, so this, Amarith does not have Zora money, so we'll see if this is an Ice Rod Cave play or if it is still a fake flipper. Looks like it is a fake flipper. So there must be something over on Hobo or Waterfall Fairy that we need. Looks like it's in the Zora area. Oh yeah, Daaanty started to go up. Let's fight Aghanim right in here. Walk up those stairs and get him. Now he's gonna run away. That's not gonna work out. Oh, there's 300 rupees in Tempered Sword up there. So I'd say that was worth it. Master to Tempered is a big step up. You know, I mean, I probably would have made a similar decision there. I don't hate that at all, Amarith.
Yeah, especially with this much game left to play, the extra damage of Tempered can really save you time over 7 more dungeons that they have to go through, plus the climb.
So clearly our mitts and our glove are somewhere in the Dark World. As Daaanty's going to be finishing up the Act 1 fight as Amarith is headed into the tower. Right about synced. Pretty good. So now what we're looking for, we're looking for a lot of stuff, obviously. It looks like either Catfish or a trip over to the western side of the Dark World is in order, and it is the latter. So we might see a Graveyard Ledge play here, if there's anything useful in there. Appears that there is.
Yeah, at this point, probably the biggest item that's going to unlock other checks is Hammer, but they also need Bow. They need Mitts.
A lot of stuff. They got a lot of stuff. We're 10 minutes in. There's a lot of stuff to pick up.
Well, we're 10 minutes in, but it is worth noting in a seed like this, it's not uncommon to have somewhere around an hour 10 for some top tier runners in a mode like.
Yeah. All right. So we see the book there at Graveyard Ledge, which tells me that there's either gonna be something on one of the tablets, right, or the mitts and or flute will be locked by something in Desert Palace. So it'll be interesting to see what the play is there. It's clearly worth it to make that trip through the graveyard in the slow way, right, without the boots or the Titan's Mist there.
Yeah, I mean, especially since there's not really an obvious chance to ever come back here.
Yeah, unless there were some boots stuff at Bonkrox and King's Tomb, but seeing that, we can probably assume that there isn't anything there, and so waiting to do that with the for the boots probably not worth it. That thief just bodying Daaanty over there, that is extremely rude. there's our hammer in Thieves Town. Very convenient place for it, I suppose. Daaanty with the sick Link's Awakening MSU pack. I like that. I think. It sounded like that.
I am not getting Dante's audio very clearly, so I will take your word for it.
That's interesting. Okay, so Daaanty goes into Thieves Town, gets the hammer and the big key, and then leaves. That's an interesting choice. Clearly wants something else before going back to do blind. Maybe the boots. I'm not sure that I understand your reasoning there, Daaanty. I'd love to know what you were thinking there, because I'm sure there's a reason for it. I'm just not seeing it off the top of my head. Something's in Hype Cave, though. That's going to be helpful. Oh, there are the boots. Okay. So Daaanty maybe making the mistake there, but getting the boots there is nice, for sure. You needed the hammer. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's faster, but it's probably pretty close, to be honest. So maybe not with the extra save and quit, but got some boots. Boots are good.
Yeah, I think the difference probably comes in is which one's faster is just if you have to go back to that area for something, which we'll find out eventually. But, if you never had to go back to Thieves Town, then obviously it would be significantly slower. If you do, then the boots probably make up enough time to sort of tie it together.
But clearly, there's a lot of stuff. There's stuff that Daaanty now, perhaps having made that decision, is trying to adjust here. Not just going back and finishing Thieves Town right now. 4 hearts in Greenmail, that can be pretty tricky. I don't. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't mind leaving there, especially if those boots and the hammer get you a lot more stuff. Perhaps up here on the mountain, that gets you more safety or makes you feel a little bit more comfortable in the back of Thieves Town there.
Yeah, for anybody who's watching who's not too experienced at the game, there is a script that you can follow to get blind fairly easily, but with only 4 hearts, you can take basically 2 hits, so if you get off that script at all, you can be in a lot of trouble, even top-tier experienced runners.
Yeah, absolutely. Having the Cane of Burna helps at that point, but of course Daaanty didn't pick that up until just now. Yeah, no, that can be that's and even getting there, right? Like the rooms in the attic of Thieves Town. Here looks like this is where we needed our book for. In the attics of Thieves Town, the rooms with those grasshoppers are very treacherous. Oh, a mushroom. Interesting. We'll see what the witch gives us for that. I like to call those rooms with the grasshoppers upstairs the most dangerous easy rooms in the game. They can be extremely treacherous if you're not careful, if you're on Greenmail.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they seem easy just off the top, but then if those guys can really move around.
Nice Harapot there with the hook speed setup. Amarith, on the other hand, is going straight down to the back of Thieves Town. 6 hearts, being a little bit more confident here. Oof. Moldorm one.
Meanwhile, it looks like Amarith is going to go all the way to the back and play this one out. Get blind the first time, hopefully. The revenge fight by Daaanty going very nicely. Picking up the first crystal there at about 1745. We have our first crystal on the board for either runner.
I've never seen anybody land right there in that corner. Imagine doing that accidentally if you didn't have the gloves, if you came up here with the flute. That would... Amarith down to a single heart here. Daaanty makes his way into Paradox Cave for only that Bombos medallion.
So it is worth noting here that Amarith going to kill that red Zazak first, which makes a lot of sense because those fireballs and every one of those guys can do 2 hearts if they hit you. Well, has blue mail, so it would only be 1 heart, but still, you don't want to get sniped.
Oh, nice. I missed the blue mail. I'm not sure where that came from. So that's a really nice find. That makes this blue mail makes this dungeon significantly more survivable, for sure.
Let's see what this mushroom.
Oh,
the mushroom is the flute. That's a big find there.
So Amarith falls a little off script there, but adjusts nicely, takes down a blind. Gonna pick up a little bit of time over Daaanty there. Well done. Daaanty taking that flute and running all the way over to Kakariko to activate that as soon.
Yeah, so at this point, basically what Daaanty's looking for, we need the bow, we need potentially another medallion, and then we need Samaria, and we need mitts. That's the big stuff, and also flippers, excuse me.
Maybe the fire rod.
Yeah, it is worth noting Skull Woods and Turtle Rock are both pendants, so it's not hard required by that since we already have a fire source in the lamp. But depending on the Ganon's Tower big key placement, you could be logically required to have Fire Rod to get to those chests on the right side.
Yeah, it is possible to bomb jump over there, but it is quite tricky to do so. The Fire Rod also helps a lot with the with the torch rooms up at the top of Ganon's Tower. Amarith has those boots now. We'll see. Looks like a Bombos tablet play into the desert area. So both of our tablets appear to have something interesting for us today. Half magic.
It's nice safety to have. Well, it is worth noting that since Amarith didn't get anything between there and Hype Cave, it was about probably 45 seconds or so, maybe a minute or so to pick up. So it's kind of a costly safety, but it is always nice to have.
I was saying, you know what's more costly is running out of magic on Ganon. So I don't hate that at all. If that's in a like an even remotely convenient place in a spoiler race, I'm picking it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Or since they have to do Cold Stare, running out of magic and not being able to do Cold Stare.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, as Daaanty's running through the Thieves Town here, and Amarith is going to show us the checks we've already seen. In case anyone joined us late, my name is Roosta. My co-commentator tonight is Tyler Salt. We've got Drunk Future Self pushing buttons behind the scenes tracking for us. And then we've also got Amarith is doing the restream. Definitely give every one of us a follow. And then also our runners, who are Daaanty and then Amarith. Give them a follow as well. Both of them are very good runners, very interesting to watch.
All right, we'll see how Daaanty does with this blind fight. Has the Cane of Burnout. Not a ton of magic, but is a nice safety there perhaps for the end. Two phases down. Ooh, there you go. Well, only one hit from the fireball.
Meanwhile, Amarith showing us the rest of Paradox Cave, which had Bloomerang, a full heart, cape, and then an extra bottle. So, decent amount of safeties.
Amarith is headed in to take care of Tower of Hera, while Daaanty is bringing us to Desert. Did need that. Looks like we needed that book for all of the things today. Yeah, that makes sense, Amarith. 4 hearts is not a large amount of hearts. So, if you want to be able to play aggressively, maybe you can, with more hearts, you can face tank some stuff later on in the game. So that works out. And it's a key.
Yeah, and Daaanty warning us that we're about to see the next biggest waste of time. So let's see what happens here.
Ooh, unfortunately, Amarith picking up the heart there that the mini Muldoon dropped while it was still in the air. And if you do that, then suddenly Harapot doesn't work anymore. So has to leave and go out and come. Nicely done there on the hook speed setup. Oh, is that Daaanty going for the flippers in Desert Palace and then realizing that you don't need them? Is that what was going on there?
Well, Daaanty also just fluted away from a clearable Desert Palace, though you do have to come back to Mire, so it might be easier just to mirror it as part of that.
Okay. Well, at least you realized, so it's not a sunk cost at that point. Hey, there's a bow. Right next to Eastern Palace. How convenient. We get to do the fabled Pod Eastern full clear combo here. Very convenient. Well put that together. Put that off until now.
Yeah, and one little subtle thing we're seeing here on Amarith's side, if you remember when Daaanty went to get the flute, he did a interesting thing with the water portal near Link's house. It was a little faster, I believe, than going the Sank to run all the way around like Amarith has done. It's a little time saved, but those little time saves do add up, so it's definitely something, if you're interested in learning here, worth keeping your mind on.
Daaanty pulling the hover in Pod. Well done. That's one of the most difficult hovers in the game. I'm told. I can't hover. I wouldn't know. Yeah, and that the fake flipper down there by the swamp dam is pretty straightforward to do. And so if you don't have the flippers, then you can hop in there, do that fake flipper, and then that brings you right up by the witch's shop. That's a pretty common cross keys opening. Daaanty with the swag hover, apparently.
Yeah, Daaanty mentioning in chat that the hover was not actually needed because there was one more. He'll end up with one more key than he actually needs here.
Yeah, we didn't need anything in Dark Maze at all.
But really, the hover looked cool, and isn't that the point of playing Rando?
Absolutely, 100%. Significantly less than 100%, hopefully. Yeah, now we're gonna see here's the biggest difference between what Daaanty and Amarith have been going for so far. Daaanty is here in Pod with 4 hearts, and Amarith is over here with 8, and Tempered Sword as well, which Daaanty doesn't have. So this Helma fight on 4 hearts and green mail is no joke. This is less equipment that than you have against Helma in NMG. So this is extremely low percent here. So we'll see how Daaanty fares with that. Obviously, willing to risk it and take a bite at this fight. So here we go. This fight can get hairy. Really smooth. Very well done by Daaanty there. Even got a few hammer hits in there on the gem there in the end. That was pretty good. imagine Eastern Palace now on the menu.
Yeah, and then really after Eastern, next thing is we're going to need to find Kane somewhere.
Yeah, I was just thinking that Kane would be a nice thing to have. We're gonna need that for Misery Mire. Obviously, makes Ice Palace significantly more fun too. Now the question, will we find the Kane in here? If we do, it's on Armos Nights, because we didn't care about anything else in Eastern Palace. Amarith picking up that Fire Rod in Dark Maze.
Yeah, it is.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it is worth noting that Amarith is not marked as having bombos, so that could be intentional. Get Fire Rod for your access to Ice Palace instead.
Yeah, that's a possibility for sure. I don't recall off the top of my head where Bombos was. Daaanty did not get the Fire Rod. I don't think Daaanty went to Dark Maze at all. So relying on Bombos there for Ice Palace access. Very smooth Armos quick kill for 10 bombs. Alright, so we need some mitts. We need a Cane of Samaria here. Where are we going to find them? We'll see where Daaanty is headed next.
And we might also need a medallion. It is worth noting that Amarith picked up Quake, which presumably is required for something, but Daaanty did not yet.
Yeah, absolutely right. Daaanty is going to use this swamp portal here. Amarith saying that that Quake was an error, just a misread there on the Hyrule Castle chests. Daanty's got it to the Pyramid Fairy. Yeah, so one of the big things about a spoiler log race is that it is a non-trivial skill to read a spoiler log, right? Learn your vanilla location names. Like, if you're going to do this, make sure that you know, like, where the maps and compasses are in the vanilla dungeons. Because in the spoiler log, they're called map chest and compass chest, right? Some of the ones have the names that we're really familiar with from Rando, but a lot of them don't. They have to say map chest and compass chest. And if you don't know which ones those are, you're going to have a bad time. So as Daaanty picks up some mail and the Titan's mitts there in Pyramid Fairy. So if you've never done a spoiler race before, definitely like generate a spoiler ROM. You know, Sahabat can do it, and look at the log look at the log for one that you're not racing, and practice going through it and practice reading it. It's definitely a skill like any other. Yeah, things like the flute being listed as the ocarina in the spoiler log. So if you command find, then and for flute, you're gonna get the flute spot, but you're not gonna find the location of the flute. You need to search for ocarina there.
Yeah, and if anyone's looking for some stuff to practice on, the Spoiler Log Discord, Spoiler Log Tournament Discord, actually, Kern had put together a set of, I believe, 5 preset spoiler log races that people are doing async. So just, whenever you have time, kind of like how the weekly seed works, that you just put your times into a spreadsheet. So if you want to be able to compare, have five races you can learn from, and also compare your times with other people.
All right, Daaanty avoiding that Zora trip by picking up that tempered sword here in Super Bunny as we head up towards Hookshot Cave. So we'll have tempered sword for Ganon's Tower and the Ganon fight. Amarith reaping the benefits of that earlier. You need that Ether Medallion for Misery Mire, I assume.
And Daanty's finally on 5 hearts.
Hooray. We saw Daaanty pick up a piece of heart there too. Not sure whether that was a miss open, just kind of going through Hookshot Cave and getting most of the chests, or one thing that is kind of nice to do, that when you're going through a spoiler log, you can go in and find heart containers, but you can also find pieces of heart and kind of route them out so that you pick up that 4th piece of heart, or the opportunity to pick up that 4th piece of heart for a health refill at an opportune time. So that's something that people will do. And look at that, Canis Samaria right here in Checkerboard Cave, right next to its dungeon. Is that, we call that chocolate, strawberry cane? I don't know.
No, but I would guess what we call it is probably go mode for Daaanty.
Yeah, seems like it.
At this point, if he thought he needed Fire Rod for the right side of GT, obviously would have picked that up in pods. So pretty much just going to knock out some dungeons here and go straight to the end.
As I was saying before, spoiler races are all about your comfort level on execution, right? You want to do the best that you can in the race, right? And it's about your tolerance for risk. It takes away the risk reward of like, what checks do you skip, and adds the risk reward of, all right, how many safeties do I feel comfortable getting or skipping, right? How aggressive do I want to be with my play? Am I confident in my ability to do a lot of these dungeons without losing a bunch of health, or do I know that overall I'm going to be faster if I'm able to face tank some stuff and not die? Essentially, these are all big calculations that you have to go through in order to develop a spoiler race.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially the thing with deaths, because deaths are always punishing in a rando race, but like I said earlier, races like this are often over, hour 10, hour 20. Like, those are all very common times. So, a death that costs you 2 minutes could very well be the difference in a race.
Absolutely. But at the same time, right, like, you see plenty of deaths in a spoiler race, right? Because people are kind of going for that leading edge, right? So it's still some risk reward, right? It's like, how do I know how careful my opponent is likely to be? Do I know their NMG time? That sort of thing is interesting to pay attention to. And also keep in mind that even in a spoiler race that's happening live, the runners are not on a stream delay. They are allowed to be in chat. They're allowed to watch the restream. They're allowed to watch their opponent. And so there might be things like, I can imagine situations where somebody would want to maybe adjust on the fly, keep track of where their opponent is and try to adjust on the fly. And it's like, oh, wait, crap, I'm a little bit behind. I'm like half a dungeon behind. Maybe I need to eschew some safeties to try to get back into this.
Yeah, absolutely. Or on the flip side, if you're ahead and you see you've got, a little bit of a lead, maybe you go slightly out of your way for a chest that you'd marked as potentially I could pick up this mail or full heart or something. And I'll decide on the fly, am I far enough ahead that I can afford to give up that 30 seconds for the extra safety and not have to worry about it later?
Yeah, and that's really important for when you're prepping your spoiler log as well, right? To keep track of things that you need, like 100% that are required, but also things that would be nice to have along the way. And because you can then not only from adjust from maybe watching your opponent, perhaps that seems like a lot to also watch your opponent. I'm not sure that I can pull that off, but like, once you're like 15 minutes into a seed, 20 minutes into a seed, you kind of know how you are playing that day, so you can see, like, if you're feeling really good, you feel like your execution is on point, maybe you play a little looser with safeties. But if you feel out of it after your first 20 minutes, maybe you're like, okay, I'll grab something else that is a want instead of a need, that could maybe save your bacon a little later on. Amarith making his way over towards the Misery Mire area. We'll be picking up that cane and following Daaanty into Misery Mire here before too long. Now, I'm not sure if going into Checkerboard Cave like this disarms the spooky action glitch. It very well might. I'm not sure. Does anybody know that?
I am not sure.
Yeah, go ahead. Daaanty, perhaps out of muscle memory, hitting that switch and then realized that, wait, no, I didn't hit it before, so now I need to go hit it back. So we've all done that once or twice for sure. So we're going to throw some 12 arrows, or we've got the bow out here. Daaanty is going to use some tempered spins over here, being very careful only on 5 hearts, using that upper right-hand corner of the screen. Yeah, only the dark green goo hurts you. The lighter green goo that is farther around Vitreous does not actually damage you. It's only that darker stuff in the immediate area around him. Oh, no, excuse me. Maybe I might be wrong about that, actually. Maybe it's just that right-hand wall. So ignore me. Believe Daaanty talking about what Error says over me.
Yeah, though there is one thing to note is that if you're trying to do the damage boost strats, the goo actually does less damage in most cases than the eyes. So usually you want to make sure, and that's actually part of the NMG strat that people sometimes use, is you take damage off the goo rather than the eyes themselves.
Now, Amarith will have an easier time of that fight with, will make up quite a bit of time on that fight, or has the potential to, with the magic cape and half magic and the butter sword. We'll be able to just throw on the cape and dash around back there and take down those eyes very, very quickly.
And so, yeah, it does look like Daaanty picked up that Bombos exclusively for access to Ice Palace here.
Amarith setting up for spooky action. Successfully remembers to not do the switch. Oh, wait. I spoke too soon. Okay, the switch before, yeah.
Yeah, meanwhile, Daaanty is going to show off Icebreaker here, it looks like.
Ugh, I love Garnet's bunny sprite. It's so good. Very smooth.
Yeah, and there was some discussion about Icebreaker, I believe, in the Discord the past couple days. Biggest thing about getting Icebreaker is just getting that downright input. You can actually menu buffer it when you're switching to the cane, and that can make it a lot easier. And then for the 1 pixel to the left, sword buffering makes that a lot easier than if you're just trying to hit the pixel, just trying to lightly tap your D-pad.
Are you talking about the 1 pixel into the door frame at the beginning, or the 1 pixel after?
1 pixel to the left after you've got the block down.
Yeah, I definitely menu buffer that one. You know, if you struggle with that, don't worry. A lot of runners struggle with that. We saw in the league finals here a couple days ago, a runner, I think, pretty close to come pretty close to lose that race. You know, by a margin approximately equal to how long they spent trying to get Icebreaker and failing it, and having to go back around and do the Ice Palace bomb jump. Amarith falling into the same trap as Daaanty and running for those flippers when they are not necessary. Oh, figures it out. There we go. Oh, needs the key. Hopefully, Amarith figures out that Amarith does not need the flippers at all over there. Alas, no.
Meanwhile, Daaanty picking up his 7th crystal, so we'll be off to Ganon's Tower. So we can do, I guess, the big key guessing game. I'm guessing he will open the exact number of chests needed to get there.
Yeah, so 1, maybe 2. 1 or 2. I guess those are your choices, right?
Yeah, and that's just depending on exactly where the big key is and how many keys you need to get there.
I guess that's true. You might need keys. I was just thinking, like, if it's on the right, 1. If it's on the left, 2, because of the torch. But yeah, we might need keys. Daaanty, no need to open the Turtle Rock portal, and so coming up here through Super Bunny is faster. This is faster if you have not opened the Turtle Rock portal and don't need to. So if Turtle Rock's a pendant and you haven't gone through there and you haven't gone through that portal at all, then this is the faster move, I believe. And otherwise, it's faster to go through Paradox Cave.
Correct. Just because in this case, since you haven't opened it before and you don't have any reason to, that's 2 extra screen transitions plus the time of actually watching the portal open up.
Amarith looks like let the first cycle on Lanmo get away from a little bit, but a very nice second cycle, I have to say. Really well timed fire rod shots there, good recovery, a nice like fire rod shot, and then a spin on one of them. I thought that was very well done.
Yeah, and so that's the 6th crystal there for Amarith. Has just one more, go straight to Ice Palace, and then follow up Daaanty here.
Yes, I do believe that torch does count at 1. From chat's perspective, torch counts as 1 from there.
Yes, so the correct answer was 2.
Hooray. Ah. Not often you see somebody heading to Ganon's Tower on 5 hearts. Woo!
5 hearts and 0 bottles. Daaanty lived dangerously.
That's aggressive. I like it. Okay, yeah. If your eyes are closed through the torch room, it doesn't count then. All right, Mr. Five Hearts over here is picking up some fairies, or a fairy. So Amarith trying to adjust here once after placing the block. It is possible to do that. Heck, if I've ever pulled it off. If I don't get that, if I don't get it the first try, I just lose the Samaria block and start again from the beginning. Personally.
Yeah, so the trick there is that you need to just only tap up or down, whichever direction you plan on doing. Because if you hold it, then you push the block too far. If you just tap it, then you see if your sprite turns to the right, then you push it down and you push, hold down the up button or down button, and you just walk straight through. If your sprite doesn't turn either of those directions, then you know you need to reset, and you can just reset from the block without redoing the block.
Daaanty without that fire rod is doing a tempered landmo. Oh, just misses the double hit. I love the double hit. There it is. Yeah. Swag double spin.
And in case anyone in chat is wondering, since we do have access to the spoiler log and we're not going to see it, the silver arrows are pretty deep in Ganon's Tower in the compass room, I believe, which would require going the exact opposite direction. So pretty sure no one's gotten those.
Yeah, that's probably not worth it if you're comfortable with your silverless fight. And if Daaanty is heading towards Ganon with just 5 hearts, seems like he's pretty comfortable with the silverless fight. Ooh, gets JP1-0'd there. Gets hit by the fire bat or by the fire bar on the way through, but very nicely done there without the fire rod. And you'll see here with that torch to the right, you can light a torch with a lamp from pretty far away.
Daaanty also picking up the extra 5 rupees there in the room before Moldorm 2, just in case. Gotta have that extra $5.
Absolutely. Passes up Moldorm's last possessions there, though. So we're going again on 5 hearts. How you feeling about that?
I wouldn't be feeling great, but I'm not the one playing the seed, so.
Yeah, thank God. Now, if I'm Amarith here, and I'm on 11 hearts, I feel great. 11 hearts is plenty for the Ganon fight, especially with Red Mail Buttersword. You know, some bottles. Okay, so I would probably be closer to where Amarith is in terms of safety. This is an extremely aggressive and confident play by Daaanty. We'll see if it pays off. Really nice Saga 2 fight.
Spamming hook shot there for the swag. Very nice.
Very lewd at the end. I also do that. I'm gonna get us banned from Twitch or something. Not just 5 hearts. 2.5. Let's go. Nice trident spin there. Ooh, just misses the 1-1. 1-1 very difficult to get with on Tempered Sword. Good dash strats though. It's the last couple hits with Cane of Burna. Very nicely done. Gets that swipe in among the fire bats. Very good.
Meanwhile, Amarith picking up the Gan's Tower big key and going to be doing the climb.
No, Ganon, we did not find the arrows in your tower. Daaanty smartly there, freezing Ganon, and then on that first cycle to make sure that he gets Torch Glitch here with no safeties on the lamp, no silvers. That's really, really critical. Lamp triple is very difficult. My understanding is that you want to time it, that you light the torch as Ganon is landing where he is. And as long as he's pretty near you with the lamp, you can get 3 in a cycle.
That's true, but even then, if he goes all the way up to the far upper right corner, I don't believe you can get a triple. Or if you do, the timing is extremely tight.
No, you can't. And GG's to Daaanty there, finishing up the Ganon fight at 1 hour flat here. 1 hour 34 seconds. GG's to Daaanty. Well done. Amarith riding that butter sword very cleanly through.
Yeah, since this is a restream of a VOD, I'm not sure if we'll have Daaanty in here for an interview, but I think he was in chat, so we'll see. But otherwise, definitely GG's to Daaanty. Amarith is doing a nice job getting through the climb as well.
Looks like we are joined by Daaanty.
Yo, thanks. GG.
So how do you feel?
It could have been better. I was really happy, since we go by in-game time, I was really happy that it was like sub-hour, because it was so close. Kind of the big, I don't know, the big thing that as soon as I did Hyrule Castle, I was like, man, this was such a waste of time. You know, it's like a few seconds, but in spoiler log, I feel like seconds feel like minutes, you know? But that's me.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Clearly, obviously, very comfortable on your Ganon execution there. That was an extreme.
I mean, I botch up Ganon quite a bit, if I'm being honest. And I just, it worked out that time. I was like, you know, it was going to waste a bunch of time to, you know, go for safeties. And, you know, when stuff like that comes up, you just have to go for it and hope for the best. I mean, in a race situation in tournaments, you know, especially if you're able to see your opponent's screen, you know, with spoiler log and stuff, you have to assume that they're doing well, you know, if you're not seeing them. So you don't want to waste any time in my mind that, you know, you don't have to.
Yeah, so one of the biggest differences routing wise is you skipped that fire rod in pod in favor of the Bombos medallion. What was your thinking there? Did you route in both and try to decide, or?
No, I mean, I got Bombos because it was the TR medallion. And I knew I didn't need to go to TR. And then I was like, well, I wasted time doing this. Screw getting the fire rod. And then I got to Landmo and was like, man, I really wish I had that fire rod. So everything that, you know, I looked like I knew exactly what I was doing. It was like a lot of me probably yelling at myself like, man, you're an idiot at this. But spoiler logs are so much fun. They teach low percent, you know, they kind of push your limits, you know, or you can push your limits as much as you want to with them, I guess. And at the same time, you know, you can also not push your limits, I guess. They're so weird, they're so stressful, but it's a nice spin on Rando, and I really like them.
Yeah, they're very fun. It's a whole different kind of challenge, you know. So it's really in which you rose to. I have to say, it was very well done. So we see Amarith dropping into the Ganon fight with that butter sword. Should have that one iframe. And while Amarith finishing up, my next question is for both of you. I guess is what you're thinking about is to talk me through your process for how you approach the spoiler log itself, because there are a lot of different ways you can do that. So I'll give you a minute to ponder that question while Amarith is finishing up, and so I'd love to hear your approach on that. Amarith doing a good job on those fire bats. Takes some hits, but knows how to deal with it. The fire bats don't have knockback in and of themselves. They reverse your controls for a moment when you hit them, and so the safest thing to do, if you get hit by one of those fire bats in phase 4, just let go of the D-pad and you will be all right. And there it is, that 12th spin. Get your GGs in chat for Amarith as well. Finishing up with an unofficial time of 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 1 second. GG. We're joined by Amarith as well. GG's Amarith.
GG.
GG.
This was a fun one. I do not know if I could nearly play as low hearts as you do, Daaanty.
Man,
That
that's
was pretty
that's
crazy.
nuts to watch. I gotta say.
I mean, you could just watch some of my practices that I don't stream. I don't know how you do that, but there's been plenty of times of taking 2 or 3 deaths in Thieves Town and then just like absolutely full tilting just because I don't want to route in heart containers.
Well, I mean, if you can pull it off, it's a good way to do well in the tournament in a spoiler race, right? If you know where you are on that level, and being able to pull it off, then you're going to do pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's like something I could consistently do, but I've always said this, and I kind of owe like a thanks to Sailor Nep for talking me into playing a Nightmare Seed. I think it was like early 2019, and once you get through a swordless insane run with chaos damage and
Ugh.
Insanity entrance, once you complete one of those, it's like nothing is that scary anymore. It's not that the insanity thing's easy, but it's it'll really kind of give you a little more self-confidence in your execution.
That sounds aggressively unfun to me. So good on you.
I mean, it's not for everybody. It's definitely not fun, and I've only done like 1 or 2 of those just because of the sheer length of time they take and the frustration that goes into them. But being a host now with the podcast and trying to pick some modes occasionally, obviously we want to make things accessible for everyone, but we do want to also push people's limits a little bit to in theory like help people progress and get better. So that's why everybody hates when I'm picking swordless, but every once in a while we may get a swordless seed for the bi-weekly seed.
So what I'm hearing is that probably in a few episodes you're going to have a insanity or a nightmare seed for all of us.
Nah, because if we did that, nobody would play it.
I'd play it. I
Yeah,
mean, if anything,
somebody will play it.
Playing this spoiler here actually got me really starting to review like what safeties do I actually really need, like that I could be cutting some time here and there. It's like, because I've just recently come to the realization, it's like I don't need like 2, 3, 4 potions anymore. I don't really need the red mail. I could get away with 1 potion max now. I could get away with going only up to like 8 hearts max. Like just slowly start chipping away at them and just focusing on that execution, just not taking damage and just trying to efficiently get the damage in.
Yeah, spoiler races are a really good way to find your limits on execution there, especially if you are not an NMG runner, right? Then this is a really good way to kind of figure out where that line is that you need to feel confident that you're going to be able to beat the game in a reasonable amount of time. But I'd love to know how. Just give you a couple minutes here. I'd love to know how you each of you approach the log, just kind of in general, and what you're looking for right away, and even like what tools you're using. I mean, a text editor is all you're allowed to use, right? But how do you go about routing a spoiler log in
the way I do it is get your prizes. Go ahead and label your medallions on your tracker as well as your prizes, and then it becomes kind of chaos after that. I mean, I wish I was kidding. There's like, because it's so different every time. The best way I feel like doing it is kind of like starting with Kakariko or like the house and then Hyrule Castle and just kind of notating things that are important there, or if I could just like delete that out of the spoiler log, so like my log gets smaller, so to speak, like things to look at while I'm playing. And then I'll check the normal stuff like Sanctuary, Kakariko, the woods, and just see what I've got from there, and then kind of figure out what I'm gonna need for the bare minimum for go mode, and then afterwards kind of track down all the items and figure out what order to do it in. I mainly try to get my like progressive items, and then remaining time goes to routing the dungeon keys if possible. And then if there's more remaining time, then I'll see about doing heart containers and heart pieces. And I've never really gotten enough time with the 15 minutes to like really route in heart containers and heart pieces. So sometimes I don't even have time to route the key, and I'll be waiting for the GT cutscene to open, and I'm like, "Where's the big key? Which way am I going?"
Yeah, no, there's a lot of information to parse. Amarith, how do you go about it?
Lately, the way that I've been doing it is sort of similar to Daaanty. I'll just parse through the log really quickly. I'll start looking for my progressive items. One of the first things I do is actually I'll look for the gloves, hammer, and moon pearl. Find out, all right, what's my dark world access going to be like? Am I going to have to do Aga? Am I going to need money for Zora? And stuff like that. And start sort of. I actually have like a spreadsheet that's laid out in the pattern that the menu item is. So that way I can just list in all the locations, just like so I can look just at a glance, like where's the hammer? Okay, hammer's there. Okay, where's Samaria? Samaria's there.
Well, that's clever. I like that. So lay out a spreadsheet like the menu. That's really good. So in the spoiler log tournament, you're not allowed to use any functions that are not in like a regular text editor. But you know, I don't know. Like, I feel like that use of a spreadsheet should be okay. Like you could.
It is okay as long as
yeah.
you're not like using the spreadsheet to be like, okay, automatically
Right.
find where hammer is and put it in, this column. It's so long as you're basically sort of like, just writing it down on a paper in an order.
Exactly right. Yeah. No, you're just using the spreadsheet like you would use a pencil and paper. That's really
The thing with the spoiler log tournament is, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of like, I don't want to say the word gray area, but there's a lot of potential for bad things, and you don't want that. But if you're entering the spoiler log tournament, this isn't a contest of who can excel the best, or like automatically parse things or write code, and that was kind of a topic in the league as well. But I talked to Sinak about it when I was practicing Excel or Google Sheets. It's totally allowable as long as everything you were doing, highlighting, Control F, all that stuff is all done manually. There's no scripts, macros, anything like that. You're on the honor system, I guess, in a way, and hopefully no one really abuses that during the tournament.
Yeah, so I linked in the chat, by the way, if anyone was curious, just basically what my spreadsheet sort of looks like. So there's room in there for when I do get to the dungeons that I can just label, okay, just like this chest, key, and just write K for wherever the keys are, or BK for wherever the big keys are. So I can just, once again, just look over at a glance, okay, that's that. And then space for like, these are the convenient like heart containers and heart pieces that I noticed when I was looking for my key items.
Yeah, that's nice that you've got the key, the chest laid out in the order in which they appear in the dungeon, which is another thing about the spoiler log, is they are not necessarily like that. Sometimes they are laid out in that kind of in that order, and for a lot of them they're not. And so definitely learning what chests are called in the spoiler log and which chests they correspond to in the game is a critical step.
Yeah, absolutely. And one other tip, I know we were discussing, if anyone is interested in the spoiler log tournament, I know we had some discussion in the Goma Podcast Discord a couple days ago, people sort of giving their strategies. One other thing that came up as well is that since you are allowed to have the spoiler log up during the race, maybe as you're going along, you don't necessarily need to get all the keys. Make sure you get your route in general. And then if you're trying to figure out, okay, what keys do I need? If you're good at your overworld execution, you can sort of glance over and sort of plan things as on the fly.
A prime example of how to not plan things on the fly is if you rewatch this VOD of me going into Aga, you guys made some comments about it, which I thought were great, of me just walking up the stairs to just go hit Aga in the face. And I was like, crap, I'm looking at the spoiler log and I look back down and I'm walking upstairs. I'm like, well, that's a waste of time.
I do that with my tracker, so let alone the spoiler log. So I'm gonna, if anybody's interested in following along with the spoiler log tournament, I'm gonna post a link to the spoiler log tournament Discord in the chat there if you are not in it. so you can join that and look around. It'll be good.
Yeah, and I believe it starts this week, and I want to say the first matches are a couple days from now.
Yeah, those first matches are already scheduled, so that's exciting. All right, so any final thoughts from either of our runners today? Daaanty, Amarith?
GG's all around to everybody who played this seed, and there's still some time to submit on the leaderboard, and I would advise doing that. We got a new episode this week. It's going to be really hype, so be ready for that. Listen to the Go Mode podcast. It's pretty cool, mainly because there's a big giraffe guy and a really good audio guy who's like, it wouldn't happen without him. So yeah, go listen to that, and thanks for everybody who put on the restream tonight.
And Daaanty, who mostly plays DDR, is my understanding.
Yeah, I'm not. I just play dance games. I don't do anything else.
Be sure to follow everyone here that helped out with the restream today. Arusta, Tyler Salt, Drunk Feature Self doing the tracking, myself and Daaanty doing the running and the restream. Guys, make sure you check out the podcast. Look forward for more information coming up on the Mentor Tournament coming up. It's going to be starting here in the next couple weeks. Again, if you're interested, make sure to sign up. It doesn't take much. If you think that you could benefit from, learning actively in a tournament like setting, need a little bit more help getting used to tournaments, definitely sign up. Or if you feel like helping out other newer players get used to, learning new tricks, maybe getting a little bit more comfortable with the game, getting comfortable signing up for races, sign up to be a mentor. Or if you even want to learn commentary tracking or restreaming, please go ahead and sign up.
Yeah, absolutely. Always looking for more talented commentators and trackers, the unsung heroes of the whole process. And none of this would be happening. You wouldn't be watching this without the restreamers. So we'd love to have everybody involved as many people involved as we can. It should be a lot of fun. I had a blast last year. It was an extremely positive experience for me and my game as a runner. So it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Amarith said, it's also a great way to get into commentary or tracking if you're not used to those. I mean, it was how I first got into tracking. I think there are a bunch of other people who did as well. Because it's nice because, you will have an audience. It will be a decent number of people, but it's not like you're starting on, Speed Gaming Prime with 400 people watching your every move like a hawk. So it's a nice way to get involved. And not to speak for the hosts here, but I think my understanding is that they are doing, having plenty of experience comms as well. So, if you need to get paired up with someone, you're a little nervous your first time, I'm sure we can find a way to make that work. So definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks to everybody for watching. Thank you again to our runners, Daaanty and Amarith, and for Drunk Future Self behind the scenes pushing the buttons. And thank you to you, Arusta. Good to talk to you again. Good to do one of these again.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Good night, everybody.